Hi guys, thanks so much for being here. Today I want to talk to you guys about blogging, I want to talk to you about the website, and I want to talk to you about this thing that we accidentally made. Hi there, thanks for being here, you guys. My name is Felicia Lowe from SweetGeorgia Yarns, and every week I do this vlog thing called Taking Back Friday, and it's really about making time to make things for yourself. And this week, I think I need to talk to you guys about this thing that we accidentally made, this thing that we spent time making, and it's called Make and Hue. So before I get into that, I have to kind of give you guys a little bit of backstory about what's been going on. So if you have been on our website at all this week, you will notice that it was down on Monday and Tuesday. We put it down for a couple days so that way we could put sort of a pause button on everything that's going on, because I have been working on the website and making changes on sort of like a staging site elsewhere. But then when I needed to move that staging site to the proper site, I needed some time to get the two things in sync. And so, yeah, I sort of kind of blew everything up. And there's new things and there's different things, and things are maybe in different places and things like that. So if it's been confusing, I'm sorry. But yeah, I want to give you guys a little bit of backstory about why this is all happening and why this was so important to me to make this change. So way back in 2004, I started this blog called SweetGeorgia, and it was those early days of knitting blogs, and it attracted kind of an audience relatively quickly because there was no place really to go if you really loved knitting and you needed to connect with people. And so I set it up because I was hungry to find more information, to find other people with information about knitting and things like that. And I feel like other people were hungry for knowledge and information too. They were hungry for connection because, like many people, I was the only person that I knew in my circle of friends who knit. Eventually I taught my friends to knit, but they didn't sort of stick with it in the same way, and they didn't have that same bug that I had with knitting. And so it was really a way to seek out other people who were like-minded. And so over, that year of blogging and things like that, I was learning how to spin as well. I was learning how to dye as well. And I got lots of encouragement from the people who were following the blog. And so that's how I knew that I could start this other business called SweetGeorgia Yarns, which was about making hand-dyed yarn. So that was back in 2005. All these years later, blogging has really evolved. I mean, back then it was really just me showing you what I was making. And a lot of people are saying that Ravelry took away the need for knitting blogs because you could see what I'm working on Ravelry if I posted that way on Ravelry. Or, maybe it was that people were going to Facebook to find out what people were making and getting that connection there. Or now a lot of people are just going to Instagram, and you can just visually overdose on seeing every amazing thing that every amazing knitter is making out of amazing yarn. Like, just so much amazing stuff on Instagram all the time. It's quite overwhelming. So lots of old knitting bloggers are definitely abandoning their blogs. They're not writing as much anymore. They're going to other platforms. They're going to other ways to, deliver their information and their content and all this kind of stuff. So our first child is about 4 years old now, and it's true that even for myself, like when we started our family, I noticeably dropped off my blogging frequency. Like, it used to be that I'd spend 2 or 3 hours every morning reading other people's blogs and then spending 2 or 3 hours writing my own blog post. And in the really early days I was posting 3-4 times a week, and then it started to drop down a little bit more, and then when I started my family, then it really dropped off because all I knew at the time, all the stuff that was going on was just feeding and why won't he sleep and why am I so tired all the time? And I didn't want to write about those things on a SweetGeorgia blog. It didn't fit. So that's why I sort of dropped off my own frequency of writing for a while. And so around that same time that we had Russell, things were progressing with the company and business and all this kind of stuff. And we had this blog that had always been sort of standalone, and then we had developed an online shop, which was already standalone. And so we were kind of trying to juggle these two websites, and why won't they fit together, and why do they look kind of different all the time? And it was very frustrating and annoying. I was so sleep deprived and so tired, and I was trying to figure out how am I going to get these two websites to be the same, and I was just too tired. So we found this amazing web development firm in New Westminster here locally in the Vancouver area called Forge and Smith. And they were amazing and awesome. And they were able to look at all the stuff that I'd done for the blog and figure out, what should we keep? What should we maybe get rid of? Like I posts back to 2004. Is it important to save every single post since 2004? We didn't. I think we imported only everything from 2009 and on, but I still got emails from people saying, where are your posts from 2004? And I didn't know that anybody cared to read any of those things anymore. But in any case, they helped us figure out a new structure, a new framework for being able to bring both the shop site and the blog site, and bring them all together and have this one cohesive thing. But in the past couple of years, I've become really sad about not writing more. I mean, I know I wrote a book, I took time out to write a whole book, but I was sad about not writing in a way that I could communicate with and engage with and, just connect with the community that we have, just knitters and spinners and people who want to make things. And I think that that's part of the reason why I started the podcast a couple of years ago and things like that. And I just needed my own little space to have these chats and things like that. And so I wasn't really writing very much more on the Sweet Georgia blog or the Sweet Georgia site, because when I looked at it, I was like, it looks great, but it doesn't feel like me anymore. And so for the past 2 years, I've been sort of turning in my head, should I start a new blog? Should I start a new website? Should I start something different? But I wanted a place where I write about my crafting and my knitting and the things that I'm making. And I'm like, but wait, I have that. That's supposed to be the Sweet Georgia blog. That's supposed to be where I write all the stuff. Why would I start another site if the site's already here? But it just felt like there was this very strong disconnect. And so that's very strongly why I had to come in and sort of change things around. There's also kind of a ton of things that we do at Sweet Georgia that kind of broke the site that Forge and Smith built for us. So it's a kind of weird niche industry here where we make a product that has 180 or 200 variations, and it becomes impossible for somebody to go onto the website and find one yarn and then choose from a drop-down list of 200 items. And it's the pages that we had created, it required us to load a picture of each different colorway. And so that's 200 images times however, much file size that is. You could end up being a very, very large file size that you need to download every time you want to look at the page that has the yarn on it. And so that was becoming kind of a sticking point for our website, and it was becoming problematic. So that is one of the main things that we want to fix with a new website going forward. And so I know that there's a bunch of other things on the website that, we've wanted to fix over time. And so this is our opportunity to do all of those things. And I know I've had sort of this discussion before with people about how I'm now a business owner, and it's important that I do business owner kinds of things. And I shouldn't be tinkering with the website, just don't touch the website anymore and let someone else do the website. But when I think back to where I came from, I'm 2004, I started a blog, and I write, and I make things and I write about them. And that's still where I'm at. There's a business that's come out of this, and that's all great, but I'm still a blogger. I still make things and write about them. And so I feel like that is my job, is to make the website work, and it's to make the communication as clear and as direct as possible. And so I feel like it is my job to make this work. So now, going back to the point about blogging, I was interviewed last week by Kristen Mccurdy. She's the dyer behind Pigeon Roof Studios, and she is an inspiration to me. I've been there's there's like over 3,000 dyers out there who are like dyeing and selling yarn and things like that. But she is one of the dyers that I have admired for years now. I love pigeon. I have some of Krista's fiber that she dyed. I bought that off of her website a couple of years ago, and it's in my stash. It's beautiful, and I love it. But yes, Krista interviewed me last week for an article that she was writing for the Craft Industry Alliance publication, and it was entitled "Is Blogging Dead?" And so this is something that comes up, quite frequently in these blogging things about like how people just don't blog anymore. Nobody writes comments on blogs anymore. Where are people going to? Blah, 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 blah. And so her thesis was that blogging is even more important now than it ever was. And so if you are a Craft Industry Alliance member, you can read this article about blogging and the benefits of blogging and things like that. But for me, it forced me to sit down and think about, why I still blog, why it's still important, why I still want to do it, and why 2018 is very, very strongly about me wanting to make things better, like specifically make the blog better, make it more valuable, make it more useful to people, have content that is what the kinds of things that I was hungry for when I started blogging in the first place, is just like things that I can learn from, things that will help extend my skills and abilities. And it's not even as far as doing a course or, studying from a textbook or anything. It's just like little articles or long articles that really take you somewhere else. By the end of the article, you've learned something and you've gone somewhere else, and you know more than you did when you started, stuff like that. And so I was really interested in digging in and making the blog better. And when I was talking about this with Tabitha and Allison and Leah and Teresa and all of this stuff for the past couple of months, I kind of had the idea that why don't we just kind of blow up the blog and do it in a slightly different format. And so the format that we have chosen is kind of like a quarterly format at this point in time. We're not sure about the frequency yet, but we're thinking quarterly right now. But we thought rather than, dripping out 2 or 3 blog posts every week, and, have them just float off into the ether, I wanted to sort of collaborate and bring everybody's talents and focus together and say, let's make some really focused content around themes that we're all interested in, things that we want to learn more about, things that we just want to dive in deeper and just know more and get better at. And so each of these themes, if we write, 6 or 8 or 9 or 10 articles that really, really dive in deep into these things, then that can be like a chunk of stuff that we send out. And then it sort of became like this magazine. and that was very, very scary, because with the idea of making a magazine comes all of these other expectations about what a magazine can or should be or what it should look like and all these kinds of things. And initially I just want to make the blog better. And then now we have this magazine format. And so I hope you guys like it. If you haven't seen it yet, I did send out an email to everybody about it on Wednesday. But if you haven't seen it yet, I really, really hope you guys will go visit. It's on our website, SweetGeorgiaYarns.com. And then you can find it we have like a little Discover tab, and it's called Make and Hue. And so this is what it looks like when we print it out. And it is available online in terms of like all of the articles and all of the content is available online, and it's kind of still like a blog format. It's just, centralized into one spot. But I also put all of the articles together and formatted them into a big PDF format, and it's a 40-page PDF, and you can download it and then you can just read through it like you would a magazine. You just read through it at your own pace. You don't have to be, I have to sit at my computer to read these articles or anything like that. And so we just printed out a copy at the studio so we could have a look at what it actually looks like if you were to read it as a magazine. And it's kind of fun. And so, yeah, in this first issue, the theme was color. It makes sense that our first theme be about color. And we just talk about all different aspects of color, how to work with color, how to choose colors, how we choose colors for palettes, for, the seasonal collections that Tabitha puts together and things like that. There's her article about her designumentary. That's like going to be an ongoing thing that she's going to write from her perspective as a design director. And yeah, the other benefit of this is that we were able to drop in a couple of coupon codes. So if you download the PDF, you'll get coupon codes that then you can go back to our shop site and then you can find things on there. And that would not be available otherwise. And so, yeah, I have an article in here about those, the Color Me Beautiful seasonal color palettes and analyzing what your coloring is like and what colors look good on you and all of that kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that I wanted to include in a future class on the School of SweetGeorgia, like more in depth on color. Because I know we did our basic one, which is the color play class, but I want to do a second one on color mastery and looking at things more deeply, like, what colors look good on you and why and how does that all work. But this is just like a very brief overview of that whole thing. Yeah, so that's what we made. I hope you guys go check that out. And we hope to bring you these kinds of things every quarter. Our next theme that we're working on is this idea of texture. And it's not just texture like cables make knitted texture, but texture in the form of like, what if you use spinning fiber, not for spinning things, but for adding texture to things? And, how else can you get texture, or how can you make cables out of yarn that is 2-ply versus 3-ply versus 4-ply versus 12-ply? Like, what happens when you do all these kinds of things? And I'm absolutely, totally open to if any of you guys have suggestions about what content you'd like to see, or if you want to contribute content as well. I mean, I am happy to work with guest bloggers, guest authors, all of this kind of stuff. If you have something that you would like to write that might fit in this kind of a theme, I would be so happy to hear from you. Allison, who works with us in the UK, she's going to be helping me sort of organize and arrange and, figure out timing and deadlines for getting this stuff done, because this week has been crazy. Like, if we're talking about making things and making time to make things, I had no time to make things besides the website and this Making Hue this week. I just didn't realize how much time it was all going to take. And so I think, I wanted for the launch day, this is arbitrary launch days, right? But I wanted the launch day to be January the 15th, which was Monday. And then I was like, oh no, I'm going to need that Monday to finish up stuff. And that Monday, I think I spent 8 hours, full day work day, working on it. And then I went to pick up the kids, fed them, put them down. And then I worked another 6 hours until like 2:00 in the morning. And I used to really pride myself on, being able to work until 4:00 in the morning and do all-nighters. And I just get so much work done. And I felt really good about that. And I think it's all like rose-colored glasses. Like, it's looking back and thinking, oh, that was super awesome when I was able to do that. But not anymore. Like, it just doesn't feel good. You go to bed at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's awful. It's not the way to live. So, and yeah, and like Teresa was working on it on the weekend, and she was giving up time from spending with her family, and Leah's working on it now, and just, we could work on the website forever and just keep trying to make it better. But yeah, we need to have more balance in life, more balance. So yes, Allison's helping with this, Leah's helping with this, Teresa's helping with this, Tabitha's to help. Just, there's a lot of people who are involved in making these things happen. So I appreciate everyone's help. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So I will report almost zero progress on the knitting front, and I hope to have more stuff to show you guys next week. The next couple of weeks are going to be crazy, and I'm not sure that I'll be able to get a video out on Friday, but if we don't, maybe I'll do like a live stream, because next Friday we're going to be in Vegas setting up for TNNA. I think at 10 o'clock we should be able to start setting up for TNNA. Actually, now I'm not sure. But we will be in Vegas for TNNA on Friday, and it's going to be different. And so I will hope to be filming a lot of stuff there and show you guys what happens. And this is all new for us too, because this is a completely new format for Tina Nay. So hopefully I'll show you guys some of that. And yeah, so the next couple of weeks are going to be a little bit weird, a little bit off schedule, but I hope you guys will still join me and still follow in. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for watching this, for following the blog, for following the website, all of the things that we're making and doing. And I hope to have more knitting progress to show you guys next week. And so I guess until next time, I will see you in the next one. Bye.